Hey guys, this is your average schlubs.
Hello.
Hello. We're gonna be doing something a little different today. We're gonna do a spoiler-heavy podcast review of Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Again, spoilers.
Spoilers.
So if you don't want to know,
click the X in the top left corner
It's
now.
like old eggs.
yeah.
Really old.
Indeed.
And the guy that just talked is our other roommate, AJ.
Oh!
Yeah, that's him. You'll hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's AJ can leave now. That's
Thanks
Just
for
kidding.
being here.
okay. So
Initial reactions.
initial reactions. Okay, I loved it. I didn't like it as much as the first movie. But I'm not gonna. I hate when people say that, and I just said it, so I don't really know why I'm comparing it right off the bat. But I thought that Joss Whedon's skills as a filmmaker improved. His ability to place the camera in unique places, and it was very kinetic, and the framing was much more spectacular than the first movie. He had a better handle on the action sequences. He was able to use the camera in more dynamic ways. He's visually grown for sure. But I do think that it was a little too crowded at times, and I think that it was bogged down by necessary, albeit it could have been done better, advancement of like what's going to happen in Phase 3.
Okay.
Personally, I liked it better than the first one. I thought he did a really good job balancing all the characters, given how many characters he has to give screen time to and has to get shots of and dialogue from. But I think Avengers 1 and Avengers 2 are on par with each other. They're both really good movies. They're two of the best in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which given they should be. But I really liked it, and I personally liked it better than the first one. And again, I don't know why I'm comparing it to the first one.
Yeah.
That's my main thing, but yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. I really, really liked this one a lot because, yeah. But in all joking aside, I just thought it had a whole nother level of like realism to it. Like it really, I don't know, like they brought in a lot more like deeper kind of issues going on within the group and between each character like individually, which I thought was really cool because you kind of get that a little bit with most of them, but like I felt like he did a really good job like introducing, especially because people came just hoping to see like people fight Ultron, of course, but it was really nice to have like a nice little balance in between like the action sequences and then like the serious notes, which would definitely be going on between like a group like that. Like questions would be raised with like what they're doing or like if they should be doing it, if they still want to even be a part of this team, or like if they're like, yeah. So he did a really good job with that. And aside from that, the action sequences alone were like fantastic. Some of the best I've seen so far.
So, I don't know much about this stuff as you guys do. So, to Josh Whedon, like,
Joss.
Joss?
We'll get killed
See, there you go.
if we say the name wrong.
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon.
Sorry. Edit that out.
Sorry, Marvel. No!
We didn't mean it.
Anyway.
Swear I didn't mean it.
Never mind. Anyway, but does he like do all of them?
He directed and wrote the first Avengers. He directed and wrote this one, and then he's kind of like he's like the creative controlist behind everything.
Okay.
He's kind of like a creative consultant for all of them.
See, wait, can you not say do we have to say like the Avengers or something?
Wait,
What?
Because I couldn't say Joss Whedon, so
Yeah.
can I not say?
You can say the Avengers. Oh, we just mean like we have to say his name right, or people will chastise us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, see that
Yeah.
that just
Like
shows.
if we called him Josh Whedon.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be
Okay.
fucking-
Yeah.
he would be upset.
Okay, well that just shows my ignorance even further. Anyway,
So it doesn't matter. What
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
I agree with you in
He
that
doesn't matter.
and that he's grown a lot. Like I didn't know that he's done all of these. So I mean, we looked and what was it like? This is the 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
In
yeah.
the thing, so he's gotten to play around with it. And I'm sure like dealing with like all the marketing people and like whatever is like a lot of bullshit. But I feel like I agree with you with how a lot of it was clustered at times, and like that's kind of the stuff that I'm talking about. Was just like, well, we need to give screen time for everybody because it's like we need to make action figures or whatever. So it's just like let's just like bunch them all in, and like the movie's already really long in itself. So maybe I liked how they like focused on individual characters more, mainly. Oh God! See, I'm spacing on this.
Hawkeye.
Mainly Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That was really cool, but I wanted to see that more with like all the other characters. Like, I guess like, yeah. That would be actual stuff. And I don't know. I'll have to disagree with you, Eric, about the whole realism thing, because maybe
I have to disagree with that too.
Maybe just like in the like universe, like with what happened to Quicksilver about how that lady forgot her child. Like she gets on the ship. It's like, oh, where's my child? It's like a mother's not gonna get on a lifeboat without her child. Like
And I might just be completely forgetting, but did we see him reunited with his mom at the end? Or
you saw him, and then you saw Hawkeye lay down on the seats right next to Quicksilver.
So I was thinking maybe his family died or something, but we actually saw him.
Because that's when Quicksilver or Hawkeye was like, "Wow, it's been a long day," and like laid down.
Yeah. Okay. So he was with.
It was right before the
I agree with AJ about the. I think I agree with Eric that the character interaction is more layered and realistic and human, but the actual plot line, and this isn't a negative on my point, but I think it was less realistic, which I think is great because this felt the most like a comic book out of any of the comic book films that we've gotten. I mean, you have. Two battling artificial intelligence. You have a like screen shift to, I don't know what like how they represented AI, but I understood it and I didn't, but I was like, all right, I get what they're doing. Yeah. And like, I mean, you have three characters at the end. Was it Iron Man, Thor, and Vision shooting a combined laser beam at Ultron? Like that was cool.
Yeah, that was
very cool.
And I thought their like vision of AI was kind of cool. How
Vision
Tony did it. Yeah,
their vision of AI.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But how Tony like flicked his little thing, and then there's like a sphere of AI right there.
Consciousness,
what is that? But it was really cool.
And I think that goes to Joss Whedon's like increased visual flair. Like he
did a really good job with visualizing the unvisualizable.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. And I think going off of that, I guess I'm the only one here that like is an avid comic book fan for Marvel, and so I was kind of worried that Vision wouldn't translate well to the screen because he's a silly looking character. It works well on the page, but I didn't know if those bright colors and the green and red would translate well to film. But
I thought they made him look really cool. And he had a very interesting like personality presence, if that makes sense. But
I think
I
think introducing Guardians of the Galaxy with their kind of level of weirdness kind of really helped with the transition a little bit.
True.
People accepted it, and once they found that out, like, all right, I think they'll accept Vision. Let's put him in.
And mixed in with the Marvel kind of funny but really serious, kind of not serious but serious at the same time kind of vibe that they do.
Yeah, I think now people are really just accepting that superheroes don't have to look like people entirely.
Yeah,
so
it can be weird.
Yeah, it's fine. So it works out really nice now.
And
so he just squeeze his way in.
I like how you're saying like how the personality of the Vision, and it is Jarvis, but it's not like Jarvis before. It's just like I am passive butler robot. Now he's just like he's kind of like an extension of Tony Stark in a way. Like he's got his like kind of attitude a little bit.
He's got all the good.
I thought it was interesting with Vision's like. I want to say like his accent. You could tell he was like very philosophical and very like level-minded almost.
That one line, he was like something along the lines of, "What are you?
He's like,
I am.
I
am." Like that's very.
He said, "He's like I'm not Jarvis, but I am."
But I am.
You said good-hearted, but I don't know about that. I think he's like Ultron. I kind of see where you're coming from, but it's just like
I think he's interested in human behavior.
Yeah,
he's outside of it. Like he's beyond it in a way.
Kind of like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah. That's a good. I think that's a really good character comparison.
I like what he said when he was talking to Ultron. He's like, like the humans, of course they're doomed, but like it's like he pretty much says like it's like good to be a part of their experience, and that's what really.
He pretty much told Ultron like,
that.
I get where you're coming from, but you weren't brought here to end the human race either.
Yeah.
Time to die.
You were brought here for a different reason than you believe you were brought here for.
And speaking of Ultron, I guess
switch over to Ultron.
Get into the character, the name of the movie.
Yeah, the name of the movie.
So, overall thoughts on Ultron as a character, as a villain?
Not powerful enough.
Not powerful enough.
Yeah.
Physically, or like plan, or what do you mean by not powerful enough?
Physically, I think he wasn't. I think once he lost the body, he was done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's just too. It's too big of a weakness. Like you think he would have been able to figure something out. Like he's got access to. He's a super AI with access to the like
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
And like Jarvis is thwarting him, I guess, like at first, but that's just like with the launch codes. How much can like a damaged Jarvis do? Like as Stark said, he didn't even know he was doing that. So it just seems like he would have like been able to do more.
I had a question about that. Maybe it was just not me picking it up, but so are we supposed to assume Ultron's dead at the end? Because when at the beginning of the movie, when he first appears and they like destroy his like prototype body, they say he escapes through the internet. So is Jarvis blocking the?
Well, Jarvis wipes him. Remember when he first like grabs him? He like.
He blocks it. That's right.
See, he blocks his access to the internet, or to the net. But does he still exist on the net? Because just because you have blocked access doesn't mean you still don't exist somewhere else.
Did Tony Stark? He went to like
destroyed.
the hub, internet hub in like Norway.
Yeah.
Did he do something there?
I think you're right.
Maybe
he was trying to find Jarvis.
Yeah,
there.
maybe
was that before the Vision showed up?
Well, yeah. What he was doing there was he was trying to get into the launch codes, I think, and he was tracking what was stopping him at the actual place because it's easiest to track it there. So he was like, "Hey, it's Jarvis."
That actually does make sense. Yeah.
And so maybe secretly he blocked him out, but probably not. Yeah,
I thought Jarvis eradicated him from the internet
so
when
too.
He grabbed him. Like I thought he went through and like deleted what like.
I do agree with you that it was kind of ambiguous though. If you were supposed to believe if he was dead, if he was still alive, if he was.
I bet they'll use him at some point.
Because they had Vision say you're the last one, but how do you exactly know he's the last one?
I mean, he had part of him uploaded into Vision still, so maybe he exists like dormantly in Vision,
maybe
or something like that.
Because there's parts of Jarvis and parts of Ultron in Vision.
Yeah.
How do you think he would like manifest in other films? Like, what would Ultron be doing?
See, that's a tricky thing. I think this kind of goes to actually a negative point that I have about the movie. Is that since Marvel has their game plan through 2019, they've kind of left like off the cuff storytelling. Kind of, they've thrown away the possibility of like improv in a way. And because they have such a detailed map of what they... And I guess I'm completely full of it right now because they haven't released the plot synopsis for any of the movies coming out in the last next 10 years. But, I mean, I don't see Ultron being the big bad guy in Captain Marvel or Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So, if they're planning on using him again, it's not going to be after Thanos, I guess.
Roughly, yeah.
So that's
and still
5 years from now.
What would Thanos need of him?
So that's
Thanos.
I feel like improv's like harder to do with this kind of series because there's so much CGI for one, so it's like you have to like get to these certain big fights, so it's like the actors can only like improv so much in between.
Well, I guess I don't mean improv as like improv acting. I mean improv as like
more creative
improv storytelling.
Like, for Avengers 3, like they already know what Avengers 3 and 4 is going to be about.
Yeah,
regardless of whether hey, I came up with an idea today. Let's talk about that.
I think that would have been. I mean, it was a good marketing scheme on Marvel's part to release like this is what all of our films are going to be about. But it would have been really cool if they only
left some
like
surprise.
They didn't tell you and like if you found out. Like early this year, maybe late last year, that Ant-Man was coming out, and you didn't find out way before that.
Yeah.
That like Ant-Man is the next movie in the series of a ton of movies that's coming out.
Yeah.
And that would have been kind of cool, and it would have left some cool ambiguity, but it wouldn't have been as good for the marketing behind Marvel.
So that's a question I have for you guys. Do you think that this movie was burdened? Because I've read a lot of interviews from Joss Whedon, and he was burdened by a lot of pressure. He was saying how difficult it was that he had to try to make a good movie on its own. He had to try to make a good sequel to the Avengers. He had to try and make a sequel to all of Phase 2 while also making a good movie that sets up Phase 3.
Yeah.
And that's more than pretty much any movie in history has had to manage at once. So I wonder how much of this movie was brought down by the necessary setup for Phase 3. Like the whole thing with Thor going to see the visions about the Infinity Stones and Thanos and stuff like that, because that kind of delegated Ultron to the side. Like Thor pretty much was saying like, okay, here's the big bad guy of this movie, but he doesn't matter at all because we have one coming.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel like it necessarily impeded the movie, but it made it harder to make because he kind of had a necessary ending he had to lead to.
Yeah.
So he had a beginning and an ending, and he had to make all of the middle rather than being able to make the entire film.
That's a good way to look at it.
Which was is more difficult because the middle is always the hardest part. But if you can designate the end and the beginning, you can have an idea for the middle rather than being told the end and the beginning and telling what is the middle of this story.
Yeah.
So, was Ultron more powerful in the comics?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's been around for so long. It really just depends on.
Okay, it's just like
the function of the story.
I mean, as far as like bringing up he's kind of set up as a throwaway character with like what you were talking about. But maybe that's the way it is if you're like more invested into like the Marvel universe. Because like me, like I don't know about all of this stuff, so that didn't really like bother me. I guess those kind of like limitations and how he had to structure the storyline, I thought it worked.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm maybe acting like I'm coming off too negative too, because I think I've had nothing positive.
But like at the same time,
far.
when you said that, like when you say that, like you say it kind of like you said it in a way more like he had to do it. Like he does, he has to do it. So like the way he did it, like of course it does like kind of mess a lot, like push Ultron aside and some of the other characters, but he did it in a very like quick, kind of really quick way, and was really effective, and then kind of just got right back.
That's true.
So it's most of like he did what he had to in as short amount of time as he could do it in effectively to move on with the story. But he knew he had to do that, and I think he did a good job, kind of like spacing it out and like giving it time to like lulls like in between like the plot a little bit, so kind of like distract you a little bit about what's going on, but like at the same time, it kind of you'd want to watch Ultron, but still you kind of want to know a little bit
That's
what's
true.
going on. But I think he did it pretty effectively for what he had to do. Of course, it would be nice if he can just do the whole kind of like with regular Avengers,
right?
Where it's just one whole plot line. But,
I mean, as I was saying before, with like the time restriction, like it is a movie. It's like they want you to get invested in other characters, you know, like they want you to get invested in the Avengers. They're not gonna like spend half the movie jacking off to freaking Ultron when they're just gonna kill him. Yeah. So maybe that's like
they want you to get more invested in the main character.
Yeah. That goes to a larger issue about Marvel movies as a whole, is that most of their villains are terrible. At least excluding maybe TV show villains, you've got Loki. Loki is a great villain. I like Red Skull.
Yeah, Red Skull.
Winter Soldier's a good villain, but he arguably not even a villain because he's being brainwashed. And then I loved Ultron.
I thought Ultron was fantastic.
I thought Ultron was pulled off really well, and
he's up there with Loki for
they
me.
added a lot to Ultron.
Yeah, I'm gonna retract
that was really
my
cool.
like thing I said
Ultron
earlier
has
about
a very
physical. Because it's like he lifts like something enough
out
to
of
like
the sky.
he lifts a whole city to destroy the Earth. Like man destroyed. Like he's got this like whole like dinosaur extinction complex, and
and it took a god, a super soldier, and a Hulk to.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about an AI too is there's no really designated physical because an AI can take over practically anything, and so like. To designate the physical strength of an AI is very interesting because if you like designate the physical strength of Jarvis, like in the first Iron Man, the physical strength of Jarvis is running through one Iron Man suit, but in the end of Iron Man 3, it's running through like 30 or 40 Iron Man suits, which is extremely physically powerful. And so it's more of a psychological powerfulness for an AI.
Yeah.
A psychological or technological powerfulness for an AI.
Coming from that, like, I think kind of makes a lot of sense to the way, like, because his personality is very, like, he wants to be a person almost. So it makes sense that he
No
kinda,
strings
like,
on
stays,
me.
he kind of stays in his own, like, Ultron body, and doesn't, like, move around too much between other people because he wants to feel like he is, like, existing kind of as a human.
And that he's like Tony, because that armored suit looks a lot like an armored Iron Man suit, and his struggle to rebel against his father, like, I am not Tony, don't compare me to Tony, but he's just a little kid who's having daddy issues because can you imagine that, being a blank slate, but being an intelligent blank slate that is given all of the world's history like that, and most of it is bloodshed and war. His reaction seems natural to me.
It makes sense to him that this is like what he wanted, like his orders. Like, this makes sense. It's the only way to do it.
And James Spader, my God, that was a great. I didn't know this, but I was reading that I guess there was no like technical enhancements to his voice. It was all
really?
It's just him. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he sounds pretty dang menacing.
Yeah, he does. I liked Ultron a lot. I thought he was a really good pull-off of the powerful AI that has almost an inferiority complex.
He did.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not a human, but I will take you down and become human almost.
Yeah.
He wants to be human, but he knows
he
he's not.
says that humanity has to evolve, but he means him in a sense, I think.
Yeah.
He's like, kill all you guys, just me.
I think you're probably right.
But yeah. What did you guys think of, like, the initial, like, introduction to Ultron? Like, when he comes out during their little
During the party.
Like, I think they did a really good job just, like, introducing, like, how, like, creepy and, like, strong he is just right away. Like,
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I really liked, like, because it was, like, right off the back, like, you have no question, you're like, oh, shit,
I thought it was
gonna
very
be a threat,
interesting
like,
how they
Yeah.
introduced him as something that was practically destroyed, but you could tell the power behind it.
That's really interesting.
And I don't know, that was a very interesting way of introducing him, just because it shows the power, but also shows like how his power isn't a physical power.
Yeah.
How he's fragile in a lot of ways.
Yep. That's good.
And speaking of the party scene, that's a good transition to the more humorous side of the story. I think that party scene was maybe along with when you find out that Hawkeye has a wife. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie.
It was
just
great.
That's what Joss Whedon excels at, maybe more than any of the other Marvel directors, besides James Gunn for Guardians, perhaps. Is he's really good at creating really interesting character interactions and making you feel like you're a part of the team and that they all actually care about each other, even if they do maybe hate each other secretly by the end. But like we were talking, I can't picture when Justice League comes out, them having a party at Bruce's house.
Batman 100% against
Welcome to
any
Batman.
sort of social interactions.
I gotta go fight the Joker.
Party's over. Robin's dead. Oh god.
Superman walks up.
Alfred, see my guests out.
Get the alien out of here, Alfred.
Where's the keg?
Oh no.
Batman, you want to come get some coffee with us? Coffee?
The mission is all that matters.
Anyway.
I don't think you need to be part of the team if you're going to be drinking coffee.
Avengers. Specifically the lifting of the hammer.
Oh, yeah. That shit was great.
Great scene.
I
Very
love
funny.
Thor's face.
One cap. Yeah.
Oh shit.
AJ thought that shit was so funny. When,
Yeah, you laughed harder than anyone in the theater.
Yeah, I was like, so if I lift this, I get to be us.
Sure, of course. Thor's is so nonchalant. He's like, that's what I said, isn't it? Confident dick.
I like Thor's like personality a lot because
Oh, me too.
Great.
you can just like his voice doesn't sound like it'd be that cocky person, but then you just hear him talk and like when freaking I don't remember who it is, walks away, but then he looks at Tony and he's like, my girlfriend's better.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my god.
Jane's better.
You want a Nobel, what do you call it?
Nobel Prize. And then, speaking of the character interaction, what do we think of Bruce and Natasha's budding
glad you
romance?
brought that up. I love it. It makes a lot of sense.
He's
They're
got
both very... I like what she said. She said, you're not the only monster in the team.
Mm-hmm.
And that... It really makes sense because of what she did in her past, which also brings up another point with the Scarlet Witch's visions that they had on them. And it was really cool to see, like, a little bit into Black Widow's past.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I liked it a lot. I thought
seemed like you could feel the pain.
I thought Joss Whedon pulled that off well for the cliche. You need to have like some love arc in a story,
right?
And he pulled it off well for being that love arc inside of an Avengers story.
It seemed organic. They were both outsiders within the team.
Yeah, and then you knew like where she like went and calmed down the Hulk so that he could turn back into Bruce.
That was
Banner.
very
Those were
sweet.
very
I thought that was
scenes.
very.
I don't
Lullabies.
understand. I don't get. Do I have a wrong definition of a lullaby that
I
it's
think I
supposed
do
to be
too, but
sung?
maybe it's some
Yeah,
sort
I
of
was
Russian
curious
thing.
about that too.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, maybe it's
Maybe
a
some
thing.
sort of Russian thing.
Yeah.
See,
But then again, why would she get lullabies in her death
Her training,
assassination camp?
See, I personally didn't buy Mark Ruffalo's. I liked the interaction dynamics, but I didn't buy Mark Ruffalo's performance of it. I didn't like how he pulled it out. I didn't necessarily believe that he was so conflicted about all this stuff. I guess the part, where he did it the best was in the house when he's like talking about, I'm not gonna have kids, and it's that I think he did well in that part. But I don't know, other scenes in like the ship and when he isn't the Hulk, it just doesn't. It didn't do it for me.
Do you just think maybe the Hulk is a little more powerful visually?
It's just like she's like the one who calms him down when he is Hulk. So it's just like, it seems logical, and she's just like beautiful Scarlett Johansson. So it just seems logical for the character himself to like. Of course, there's some resisting, but I feel like Mark Ruffalo is like resisting too much. Like he's like pushing it like too much to the point where it's like. So not believable.
Do you think that's actually, I didn't think about that, but that's a point that I think is another problem with these movies as a whole. They tend to make character advancements in the previous movie and then throw away those in the new movie.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, they do.
I think at this point in Hulk's development over the course of 3 movies, he's a little more comfortable with himself. He should be, because he accepted his anger at the end of the last Avengers. But they kind of forget that in this one.
And what happened?
Yeah,
to
because he's always
that he had is like the general's daughter. Where'd she go? It's like
the Incredible Hulk didn't exist, but it does. But
it's there. Yeah,
it's there.
I thought that was
no, not that one. I mean the most recent one. They're like with
Avengers.
with Fight Club guy.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
The Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
That's
They
just okay. I thought you meant the earlier.
Oh, from
Except
2000.
Yeah, I thought you meant that one.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting with the Hulk too, because at the end of the last movie, he was like, "The secret is I'm always angry," and then he seemed like he was in control of it, and he could. And I guess maybe it was an assumption on my part, but if you're in control of the Hulk, you can calm down when you want, as well as get angry when you want.
Yeah.
But in this movie, he was always scared to turn into the Hulk. He's like, is this a code green time? Is this a code green time? Like, should I get angry? Like, I know I'm going to wreck shit, but should I get angry? And it's like,
it's inconsistent.
If you're in control of it, why not just get angry, kill the people you need to, and then stop being angry? Like,
that's a very good point.
Yeah.
It was
I don't
know. It was very inconsistent. I agree with yours. Yeah.
It would have made a lot more sense, like in the plot, if maybe like he had more control, like up until Scarlet Witch like took over his mind.
Yeah.
Then he like had no control and was just killing all those people, or like pretty much killing all those people. But then after that, if like he just introduced it after that, like that he just like I can't do this. That would have been a lot better that way, I think. Like, because then there's a little more reasoning to it, and that whole beginning part's just
it
would make sense. But
like he's got this like Mark Ruffalo face. He's like, damn it, Natasha, I can't go with you. And it's just like, I don't like that Mark Ruffalo face. It's like,
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about the Hulk, we should talk about the Hulkbuster armor.
Yes.
See, the Hulkbuster
The
armor
major, arguably set piece of the film.
Oh, yes. It was...
I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
it was great.
Insane.
I loved it.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. I'm sorry.
He did a really good job introducing, like, comedy inside that very serious, crazy fight scene.
It was...
He's, like, beat him up, and he's, like, hit Hulk too hard, and he spit out his tooth, and he's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's just panicking. He's like, oh, God.
It was great.
I thought that Iron Man still had some really funny parts because he had that part and then he had the part where he he was remotely controlling the body and he like flew back and got smashed by a semi. And he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
He had some really funny parts that you weren't like expecting, kind of.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. That they. Josh Whedon does a good job of keeping the subtle humor.
He does. I'd say about for every 4 jokes he has, 3 of them hit.
Yeah,
there was some jokes in this movie I noticed as opposed to the first movie, for me at least, where it seemed like the audience was pretty quiet.
Yeah,
there was a couple jokes where they were just
you're still like,
yeah. Well, I feel like Marvel's gotten that a little bit, especially after Guardians of the Galaxy happened, where it was they landed like almost every joke is they try to put in too many at times. Like Marvel's really funny and they keep the humor and everything to it, but they've tried to start to add just a couple too many jokes rather than like I know this one will land and then like 10 minutes later this one will land. They're like, well, I could throw in like 2 or 3 in the middle there.
I wonder how much of that is Joss versus how much of that is Marvel.
Yeah, I don't know, but I feel like they have done that because
absolutely.
I'm sure if I watch Avengers 1 then Avengers 2, there will be quite a few more like attempts at jokes in Avengers 2.
I think so too.
I think that the humor in this one was a lot darker, and it brought out the characters, each individual unique personalities, and how they cope with the destruction that they cause. Like Tony Stark, he's like freaking out the whole time, but he's like still maintains his whole "I'm Tony Stark," haha. He kind of like laughs about these things, and that's how he like keeps his sanity. And then you have Mark Ruffalo, who's just whining all the time, and Natasha, who's silent. And
then you have Captain America, who's serious.
Yeah, who's like was all like "Yay America," and now he's like an angsty teenager. And then Thor, who's just Thor.
Yeah. He's a human problem.
Yeah, he's like, I don't care about any of this, man. I'll take my human woman and I'll go back to Asgard.
Whatever country she's in. We forgot about Natalie.
I'll just put my hammer in the air and leave whenever I want. Fuck it.
I'm leaving. This is too much.
One thing we haven't talked about that's pretty big is the siblings. So the other major new characters. What did we think about them?
I thought Quicksilver is really pretty cool for like initially for most of when he's fighting against them, but when he's together with the people he's okay. I don't know, I'm saying a lot. I think I said like 40 times.
I think you did too.
I really do like Scarlet Witch though a lot better than Quicksilver.
Yeah. I thought Scarlet Witch was a much better integration to the team than Quicksilver was. I liked Quicksilver a lot, but Scarlet Witch, I don't know, I kind of liked her story arc of she's not really sure and she knows that she doesn't like Tony Stark and all that, but then all of a sudden she, I guess not all of a sudden, but then you had the speech and all that, and then she's part of the team. She becomes really powerful and she works for the team, and I thought she was much better integration to the Avengers.
Half of Quicksilver's lines were, "You didn't see that coming?"
Yeah.
That was half of what he said. And
I think they said that line 4 or 5 times.
That was an
overused joke.
Especially in their very inconsistent, terrible Russian accents that they had.
I thought it should have been used.
They were terrible.
One time, and then done. Yeah. Maybe twice, because it could have been used once by him and then once by Hawkeye as funny comeback, but not again.
Every single time they saw each other, every time. Yeah. Even when he died, that was his last line. Yeah, I saw that coming, or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, he was like, "You didn't see that coming, did you?" And he was looking at Hawkeye Really?
Yeah, come on.
I did.
You could have.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I
I
was banking on it.
Yeah,
Back to my family.
That's one of the
Thanks.
parts where I think they add too much humor. Because
Yeah.
you could have made Quicksilver's death like an actual emotional
Very
part. Like you knew, like it. It should have been an emotional part. Given Quicksilver hadn't been that integrated to the universe and everything, you had learned to enjoy him over the course of this 2.5 hour film.
Yeah.
And then they make his death comical. Because first off, they did that where he was like, you didn't see that coming. And then they have this scene where Hawkeye gets on the ship and then he lays down and he goes, oh, this is a long day. And he's laying next to Quicksilver's dead body.
I disagree with that joke, though. I think that
I
one...
thought Hawkeye was going
I
to die when he
thought
did
that
next
was like
to
the
him.
most like
I was like, oh,
impactful
shit.
one.
'Cause
Like the whole time it was like,
No.
oh, you didn't see that.
I was
coming,
okay
and
with
then
that,
it's
but
like,
the two of them...
I was like, oh, that's sad.
It sucks.
The two of them combined together, I thought they could have at least made one of them like an emotional part, but I thought they tried to make his death like too... And it doesn't really matter.
I was emoted personally. I was
thought-
emoted by that part.
I think Scarlet
I was
Witch
emoted
is-
because I liked Quicksilver, but I wasn't emoted because of how the movie pulled off his death.
I think I was.
I agree.
I think the only really like
He's not
part that makes it really
No,
really sad is like
let's keep this debate going.
I thought like his relationship with his sister is the only part that really kind of. Well, in a sense, like he did risk his life to her, but like I think that the fact that she lost him kind of made it a little more sad for me.
Yeah.
But other than
couldn't
that,
agree with
not too much. Like you said, we didn't have much time to actually like really get to love this character, as opposed to like if Hawkeye died, it would be really.
Oh, yeah.
People would be pissed.
I thought they were going to for a second.
Yeah, I
They
thought so.
hinted at Hawkeye's death a
maybe-
lot.
The way they were
and
setting up the scene?
I'm really glad Josh Whedon
Yeah.
did it.
Oh.
Is that he
Terrible.
hinted at it so many times. He was like, Hawkeye's gonna die, Hawkeye's gonna die, Hawkeye's gonna... Oh, shit, he didn't die.
Yeah, thank God. Hawkeye didn't die. The best Avenger, surprisingly.
How do you think like the franchise would have like done after like if Hawkeye did die? Like
They would have been fine.
Yeah, I think it would have been
do
fine
you
just
think-
because
It would
of...
have been inconsequential.
Do you think it would have been better maybe if he died?
No.
Compared to Quicksilver?
No.
I
Quicksilver's a useless
personally-
character. He was done shitty in this movie, I thought.
I thought he was like totally underrated. I mean,
You think he was underrated?
I thought he was way underrated. I mean, he's the one who like guides his sister. He was like the whole time like the one who like his sister is like ended up being more useful in the end. But it's like he was the one who took the initiative the whole time, like regardless of like the shitty accent. Like I actually kind of bought like the relationship between the two of them.
I did buy
As
it,
actors,
for
like
sure.
that was one interaction that I felt was genuine, and I also felt that their transformation at the end was genuine. And he's like looking at the ships, and he's like, "This is S.H.I.E.L.D. This isn't so bad." And he's like,
really
and they
well
told
done,
him, and
that's
they told
true.
him that it's like he wouldn't know what sacrifice is, and then he ends up sacrificing himself, and he delivers the cheesy line. So it's like they built up this character in like the 2.5 hours that they had, and I felt I was like, you have the beginning, the middle, and like the end.
You
So-
honestly just made me like him more.
Yeah.
You honestly did. That was
Wonderful.
good. That's true.
That would work.
Yeah, I really liked Quicksilver. I was sad that he died, but I did really like him.
I mean, he's definitely throwaway.
Yeah.
But
But he did a good job.
Yeah, because they used him to build Scarlet Witch.
He was like another Coulson. They were using him to
Yeah.
build the team, or I don't know, build the team, but
Like,
Yeah,
Coulson
use him
kinda-
as something to inflate the team until they get above him and then off him.
yeah.
and that actor just like, I need something to stay in shape until Kick-Ass 3.
That's probably true.
That's funny.
Did you know they actually they told Aaron Taylor Johnson that he had to lose muscle because he was getting as big as Chris Evans, and they were like, "You Quicksilver can't look like Captain America," so they had him lose muscle.
That's funny. Yeah, he's fucking
he's jacked.
beefcake.
Yeah, he was big.
I was like,
Yeah,
you were a skinny nerd
Yeah.
that looked like 140 pounds maybe at most, and like Kick-Ass one.
You
You're
got
like-
some money, bought a
that's like-
personal trainer,
yeah,
got
that's
real
like-
big.
Yeah, now you're a big
like
actor.
250 right there. Like,
Yeah.
you're a scary man. Now. Scary, yeah, and fucking
I'd have
America
fought
with
you
his
in Kick-Ass
boobs.
1.
He has like muscle boobs that you can punch your face in.
when Captain America's ripping apart that wood, like
Yeah, you're like, oh,
I'm just as aroused in that scene as I am with Scarlet.
I don't know about that one.
Hulk's face
I don't
in
know
a
about
black
that
I
one.
don't know about that. That's pushing it.
Yeah.
Not around. I don't mean that.
Revoke my last statement.
Revoke my last statement. I mean,
Entertained
by the wood.
Are you not entertained?
Entertained by the wood.
I really liked him splitting the wood.
You should stop talking.
More Chris Evans wood.
More Chris Evans. Oh my god, I got
Oh my god.
Oh Jesus.
Next topic.
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, let's talk about Scarlett.
Holy titties.
Holy
Holy titties.
Jesus, what a woman.
Yeah,
I think
she's
I really like her
fantastic.
character too. She's
Yeah,
not
but
even
the-
just.
Oh, don't
that.
No.
She has the
You guys all
sexiest
said holy titties, but I really like Black Widow.
Black Widow's an amazing
Yeah.
character.
But talking about just
But she is
sexual-
really hot
she has-
too.
yeah.
Yes, I'll give it that.
She has the sexiest voice
Oh yeah.
and just perfect body. Like, I don't understand. She is a real superhero status kind of person. Like,
I like how she's I don't know. I like how they've developed her a lot more.
Her backstory was
finally
really great
given
in
this
this movie.
backstory, and I don't know. I just like any female character that's
Yes.
like
It is
really
nice.
outwardly strong while still like maintaining their feminine identity.
Yeah.
Like I really respect that in any character.
Joss is
And I think
extremely good at writing
Scarlett
female characters.
Yeah, and Scarlett pulls it off wonderfully. with just,
She's
like,
such a good actress.
Yeah, she is.
She's I think she's been my favorite character that's she's had I think the most growth over the well, I don't know about growth because they've all had quite a bit of growth,
Yeah.
but she's I think been my favorite evolving character throughout.
I think as
the
actors,
series.
her and Tony are my two like favorite actors, and of course Samuel L. But
he's playing Samuel L. Jackson.
that's just so.
I
he's
really
not
liked her too, especially like when they're like, "Are you and Hulk just hiding?" And she's like, "We can't all fly." And then she's
Yeah.
like driving in, and kicking ass, and I was like, "That's freaking cool." Like you show that like just because I don't have the powers you have, I'm still
Essential.
I'm still essential, and I can kick your ass probably. So I'm freaking awesome.
I've seen not so much this movie, but when the first movie came out, a lot of people, the dumb sexist people, were like,
of course.
well, she's not an Avenger because she's human. I think what you really mean is you're saying she's not an Avenger because she's a woman, because they don't use those same arguments against
Captain
Hawkeye
America
and
is
Captain America
human.
and Iron Man,
Iron
who's
Man,
a human.
Iron Man's 100% human
Yeah.
in an iron suit.
It's like they've done a phenomenal job of making each Avenger show why
Important.
they're essential.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because I mean, you could make the same argument against Hawkeye, because Hawkeye and her have neither one of them had their own movie. Neither one of them are known as like the essential Avengers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Neither one of them have like superpowers necessarily. One can shoot a bow like a boss ass bitch, and one can kick ass like a boss ass bitch. And then so you could make the argument against either of those, but if you make the argument against one, it's
you have
like,
to make the other.
well, I mean, there's another character just like them of the opposite sex.
It's people's sexism just pouring out of this movie, and I
Yeah.
think it's Marvel's also, because I don't know if you guys heard, but from my understanding, Marvel's just done a crappy job at creating merchandise around Black Widow's character. They've created so many action figures and clothing items around all the other Avengers, but forget Black Widow. No one wants to get the girl toy.
We even saw that the other day when we went to King Supers. They had all
That's
the
true.
Doritos of every
Every
character
Avenger except Black
minus
Widow.
Black Widow.
That's very true.
And minus the twins too, but the twins weren't part of it in the first one, so it's like,
Yeah.
but that's the only main character from Avengers 1 that you're just like, we'll just neglect that
Push them to
one.
the side.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's like you said. It's great that she's such a strongly developed character.
America.
Yeah.
America for you.
Merc.
More, we need more strong women characters. They've been doing
need
a good
the
job
heroines.
lately, though, but
Yes. Okay, maybe a couple more topics. 'Cause I have a couple
Hawkeye.
more things to. Do you want to talk more
Let's
about?
talk about Hawkeye.
Okay.
Yeah, Hawkeye was the standout character, hands down, in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got a lot more screen time in this one, and he was. I liked him a lot better in this one.
Yeah, me too.
He was really good, and Josh Whedon gave him a really good amount of screen time and gave him really good dialogue to pull off too.
I think he was apologizing for his treatment of him in the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Because I know Jeremy Renner was quite upset with how his part got treated in the first
Yeah.
movie.
And I kind of liked it too, because like in the first movie and in the beginning part of this movie, he always kind of gets picked on. Like he's always the one getting beat up and stuff, and then Josh Whedon was kind of playing on like he's gonna die, and then made him a really cool character at the end that everybody was attached to at the end by the end of the 2.5 hours.
So humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He really-
he is.
he brings
and you
the
saw
team
that
together.
with when they brought in his family and everything.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's just like, who are you talking? Or it's like, do you have a girlfriend? Like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. And
Yeah.
it's just like that's like such like a like subtle like humble thing that he could like he's trying not to like play himself up, so he just like doesn't.
And
answer
at
the
home, he seems
full
like
question.
dad, not my daddy's an Avenger. Like,
No,
my dad's
he's-
dad.
yeah,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not a Hawkeye at home.
Yeah.
He's not, and I kind of like that.
It was
like
it was great.
you're not overjoyed with yourself, over egotistical.
Yeah, like I'm
any
an
of that.
Avenger.
Like this comes first. I'll make sure I come home, but I've also got to do this.
You know what
Yeah.
they're setting up for? The heart-wrenching death!
In Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna happen, and it's
think
sad.
so?
It's gonna
I
be
think so.
sad.
Yeah.
If they do, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Kill Stark. Kill. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
like,
I-
during this
They're,
movie,
I bet
he
they're, I
starts
bet
my
they're gonna kill
second
Cap
favorite.
next movie. I think.
Fuck yeah.
Or-
That they
not next
it's
Cap.
Kill
Civil
Cap.
War. Yeah, Civil
He
War.
gets snipped
and
in the
then
comics,
Winter Soldier
doesn't
comes
he?
in.
And then
He gets snipped in the face in the comics.
he
doesn't
does. Yeah, the bullet goes right through his heart, and he
Oh, damn.
collapses in front of the one of the main buildings in DC.
Yeah.
Kill Captain America.
Kill Captain America. Okay, what about the after credit scene and setting up for Phase 3? What do we?
Thanos
think
has
about
had
that?
enough. Thanos is tired of all of the shenanigans.
Thanos is tired of waiting for
5
others.
years down the road.
Yeah.
He's just, no. Yeah.
It's
I
not
thought-
though. It's like 5
He's got to
years down the road.
collect.
I
He's
don't
got to
like that.
collect all the Infinity Stones now.
I thought the Thanos scene was really cool, but I thought that it was playing a little bit too much that it was going to come soon, and it's kind of a tease.
Yeah.
Like, Thanos is coming. Wait, never mind. It'll
5
be a couple
from
years.
now, yeah. That's
It's
true.
nice to know that he's still there, because like, of course, he's just gonna like show up in later movies, but it's nice to know that he's still conniving and like trying to do his own.
Yeah,
thing.
I like that they add in the little after
And they make
credit
it
scene
really
of Thanos.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're teasing you every
wonder if
time.
Guardian Guardians.
They're taking like the 2 years to tease you every time. Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanos. Oh no. Thanos. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
I
but
don't mind it.
Yeah, it's
personally.
frustrating, but I like it at the same time. Like, I like that they introduced Thanos because it just builds more hype for him, which hopefully lives up to what he is. But
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the last movie comes out and it's just like terrible.
You should go get your charger.
What were you just saying about Thanos?
If they like built it all up and it was just disappointing.
Bad.
Yeah.
That's actually.
because of all the villains.
It could, well,
Love
that's
it.
why I'm actually scared of the last Avengers movie.
Yes.
Because they are having so many movies come before that this one was crowded, but the next one's going to be real crowded, and then the fourth one is going to be 5 minutes of screen time for everyone.
Yes.
See, they need to get away from like the fight scenes where everybody's in it and they're all doing the same thing. And they need to like split it up into like groups of characters to like.
I'm betting that's probably what they're gonna
handle
do.
that.
Because when you fight Thanos, like Black Widow, Hawkeye, they can't. Like
Yeah.
they'll have their job, but
There's no
they
way.
just can't physically fight him. Rocket Raccoon
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
physically fight Thanos.
that's what I was thinking about that earlier too, because like, of course, people will get like upset. People will be like upset about like maybe characters like, oh, they didn't put this much characters in this. But like when you're reading comic books, like you don't constantly see every character, every panel when you're reading through it. Like,
Yeah,
so,
but I don't think that's a comparable thing though, because
It's
you
very
get a new
hard to
comic every week. You get one movie every 2 years.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very hard to condense. Let's say
but
2
I-
years worth of
I know-
comics into 2.5
Yeah,
hours.
I know, but like that's not what I'm saying. I mean, like it gives you kind of like the feel like it makes kind of sense with like comic book characters in a sense. Like when you're like read through like every issue, you don't have every character either. But like, so it kind of like I personally wouldn't be frustrated if they like gave a lot more screen time to like the bigger characters, and then some of the little characters just kind of show up.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine, because to be honest, like these
Well,
main characters are the main characters for a reason.
And
That's
that actually helps
And I really
Marvel's
think it makes
marketing
sense.
quite a
That's a
bit
good
because, like, if Marvel does that where they give Captain a lot of time, Iron Man a lot of time, Thor a lot of time. That's the people who make Marvel money in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is the people who have their own movies, the people that are the big characters, not Hawkeye and Black Widow, or not any other introduced characters like Quicksilver.
That's true.
So that could help out Marvel's marketing towards the mainstream. Not necessarily like you would upset comic book fans, and you would upset...
that doesn't matter because
they
represent like
1/30 of a percent
of the people who go see these movies.
100% of people that go see.
I think the highest like selling comic book that Marvel has is probably Spider-Man, and that's upwards of like 30,000 issues a month, which is nothing for a movie. Like they don't need to market towards the comic fans.
Yeah, which I mean, like, comic fans are cool and everything, and it would be awesome if Marvel would make movies for the comic fans. Like, you would have some freaking good movies, but you would also not have the fan base that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has.
And I think they've done a good job of
they've done a good job of tying in the main comic lines with the movies, though. I agree. Or if that's what you were going to say.
Essentially.
But I do like that now they have the opportunity to make Netflix series of these other characters if they want to. So even if they don't get a whole lot of like movie time in like the series, they still could maybe do like a TV show for them.
Yeah, I really like their idea of doing that with
Daredevil. So that really opens up a lot of doors that way.
That's true, and then they can tie those into the movies, so they have a lot of.
Although I don't know how much Daredevil will do against Thanos.
That opens up another kind of negative thing is if they're starting to make it necessary for you to watch TV shows, they're I don't know how to phrase it. They're making it like.
Well, because they've kind of tried to do that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too.
No one gives a shit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Well, but they've tied it into like the chronological lineup of it. Yeah. They tried. I'm not saying they succeeded, but they tried.
That's like, okay, so, apparently the episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that was before this movie tied in right to the opening scene of this movie.
Oh, okay.
But, so, it didn't matter. They did a perfect job of explaining the plot. Let's say Daredevil comes in Avengers 4. Are they going to have to give 20 minutes of exposition to say, this is that, you're that guy from Hell's Kitchen that we heard about? Or is he just going to jump in and people who don't watch the show, which they shouldn't have to watch a movie, are going to be like, who's this guy?
Yeah, but it's hard to, that's a hard balance too, is do we give the background of every character? Because, Iron Man's had 3 movies. Do we try to throw in the background first 20 minutes and then dedicate the next 2 hours, or do we try to take the 2.5 hours and actually make a story that doesn't move too fast? Because that's a hard balance of how do we integrate a character that we've integrated in another form of media.
It'll be interesting 2019 when we do a giant retrospective on the 3 phases of Marvel films and where they went right, where they went wrong.
Yeah, I'm glad they're making the Avengers Infinity War 2 parts.
It needs to be.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be shit.
People need to watch Thanos wreck shit and then stop and then make the next movie.
I agree.
That's exactly how I think it's the first one to end. Thanos will have the upper hand.
Shall we wrap up?
Well, I got a question. How do you guys feel like it tied into Civil War coming up?
Because enough at all. Not enough at all.
What are you?
I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, because I thought they did a really good job of it throughout the movie, of showing that there's like turmoil throughout the group, but I thought the ending kind of counteracted what they had done throughout the movie, because you had a very almost intimate scene between Captain America and Iron Man, who are given that I know what happens in the comics, are the 2 main people of Civil War on opposite sides, but you had an intimate moment. But then when you had Vision coming in, Captain America didn't hesitate to launch a missile right at the middle of Captain America's chest and launch him across the room. Like, he didn't hesitate to grab his glove and start launching at him. Yeah. But then you have an intimate moment at the end, and I don't know how I like that. Like, they could tie it in well with Civil War. It's going to be interesting, but I feel like they Josh Whedon kind of counteracted it at the end.
I think so too. Like, I think that I'm wondering if if they'll establish in Civil War something like, so these three guys, Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America,
Yeah,
I think they obviously, I think throughout this movie, like right when they find out that Tony created Ultron, Thor picks up Tony's neck and slams against the wall. Like, I think these are three characters who have a lot of deep-rooted issues with the way each other acts. They're openly nice to each other, and they truly probably, I'm sure, care about each other. But when something goes wrong, they're kind of like, I think their issues come out pretty quickly. Yeah. And so I wonder if maybe there's a little bit of fakery at the end, like a lot of artificial.
And that would be cool if they tied that in. I just personally feel like they kind of counteracted what the great Civil War lead up that they could have built to throughout what they had done in the story.
Yeah.
I think that they're all just sociopaths and they're all just waiting for any little excuse to jump on each other and
Well, because
deal with the guilt of their own like self-imposed like world problems that they have to like deal with once they set them into motion. So it's just like, it's not my fault, it's your fault. And they're just like waiting for any like moment that they can to like alleviate some of that pressure or guilt that they feel. I mean, it's stressful to be a superhero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, because the three of them, especially, all have their own like Hitler complex. They all want to be the leader of it all.
Yeah.
Especially Tony. Like you can tell, and Tony has that the technology side of it where he's never satisfied with
I'm
what
never wrong.
he's
I'm
never
Tony
wrong,
Stark.
and he's never satisfied with what he has. He can always have better. And that obviously that's where Ultron comes from. And you saw that at the end of Iron Man 3 too, is like all of a sudden he brings in this array of Iron Man suits that he's been building, and you're just like, so you're never satisfied with just what you have, right? And so you can see that, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting how they tie in Civil War, and I hope they do a good job. I really do.
It's going to be interesting what because as far as I know, as of right now, Chris Hemsworth is not in Civil War. He's not cast in there.
Who is that?
Thor. But Robert and
Because that's going to be.
But Robert is supposed like having a pretty sizable supporting role in it. So I'm wondering after that's over, whatever happens in it. Because I think the next one after that is that Chris Hemsworth is going to be in his Infinity War 1. So I wonder if there's going to be fallout with whatever happens in Civil War between those three.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think he's kind of over the petty human. Because now he's dealing with the cosmic stuff. Like
yeah,
guys,
he's dealing with the
have
cosmic
some
stuff.
Infinity Stones to worry
shit.
about.
Yeah.
And I think Cap's probably like
Whatever.
What's an Infinity Stone?
I don't even
Yeah,
know.
Cap has
America?
no idea.
I don't know what
Does that have
Netflix
anything to do with
is.
America?
Yeah,
Huh?
what's.
Well, because I don't think Cap has any idea what an Infinity Stone is, and I don't think Tony really gives a shit right now. Tony's worried about what's happening and why am I not in complete control of this group.
He's worried about protecting Earth
I think he
and getting away. He wants to get away from, like, I don't think, like you said, he wants to fight so that they can stop fighting. But at what cost?
I think it'd be interesting if Chris Hemsworth was in Civil War, though, too, because they're all three such strong personality characters that the fight between the three of them to see who can be the leader would be very interesting.
I mean, in the end, Thor wins if he wants to. And but I don't think he would really take a side. I could see him turning on Captain America as much as like.
They all have their own ways of doing things.
He definitely
That vision changed him a lot.
Yeah,
Like,
he definitely doesn't like.
Because he disagreed with Tony at the beginning,
Yeah.
but by the end
He's like
Tony
Yeah.
knows what he's
Tony-
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like Thor will do what needs to be done as his responsibility as wielder of the hammer, and he will not let petty human behaviors stop him.
I actually got one more question. Sorry.
No, this is good. This is fun.
What do you guys think about Hulk disappearing at the end? Not really disappearing, but
Predictable.
predictable. But
I didn't think it was. I wasn't expecting that at all.
I thought it was
Okay.
makes sense.
But what do you guys think's going to kind of happen with that?
They're kind of find him again.
I thought it was very interesting how Hulk was kind of
He's Hulk.
very passive during the storyline because like he was on Tony's side, but he's like, I don't know, Tony, and then all of a sudden he's defending Tony, and then I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's right. I don't know.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that though?
I'm wondering if because the Blu-ray of Age of Ultron is going to have an alternate ending.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
But I don't know how much that alternate ending means. And months ago, there was a rumor that the movie was going to end with Thulk saving... Thulk.
Damn, I'd be a superhero. I'd be a fucking superhero right there.
Is that
what happens
the Thor version of Shulk?
Yes.
Smash Bros? That is Thor becomes Hulk.
Yeah, what happens when Thor gets gamma radiated and gets angry?
Hulk becomes worthy.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, God, Hulk with the hammer.
Yeah.
Hulk, instead of smashing, now he does backslash.
Yeah.
Smash.
But that Hulk flew the ship up into space to save the day or whatever, and that was how they were going to integrate Guardians and Hulk, because Hulk was going to run into the Guardians in space. Mm-hmm. I wonder if this ship is space friendly, and if maybe that would still happen, because they said they can't track it. I don't know if this spaceship can go, or if this ship can go into space. If it's designed by Tony and Shield, I'm sure it probably could. So I wonder if they'll still do something
they're
like that.
tracking him. They're like, we have this, but it doesn't mean he's there. So it's really interesting.
So maybe he turns back into Bruce, looks at himself, and is like, I'm sick of causing destruction. Let me fly into space and kill myself. Or to leave Earth. He runs into Guardians, and Guardians get their ass kicked by Thanos. And then Hulk comes back, and I don't know, something like that.
I thought he was just like pouting, like the whole movie's just got this ambiguous role that he has to play of, do I want this, do I want that? And I think maybe that got in the way of Mr. Ruffalo's acting, and that's why I didn't like it, because like the whole time he's like the whole, do I want to help Tony? Do I not want to help Tony? Do I want Natasha? Do I want Natasha? It's like time after time. Do I want to help? Do I not want to help? It's like he's always inhabiting that space if he doesn't know what he wants to do. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's just frustrating, and Hulk just wants to dip, figure it all out, come back.
That's probably more
just
likely
be like,
option.
hey guys, I thought about it.
I thought that was kind of interesting, but I feel like I kind of like your idea, and I hope they do something like that where
integrate.
He has to have a reason to come back.
Yeah.
Because he's so far towards the side of, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to be the guy that causes destruction. That if he doesn't have a reason to come back, he's not just going to end up, hey guys, I'm back.
Well, I don't think he has a choice. I mean, sooner or later, like the big guy will come out whether he wants to or not, and like he will fuck up. And so I think he will come to realize that the best way to deal with the big guy is with the Avengers.
Yeah, to let them.
It's the
like
safest
with
place.
Natasha,
Safest place for Hulk to go.
That is the safest place in the end, is with the Avengers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
maybe you'll realize that.
And that's another reason to come back, and that's interesting. I wonder, do you guys think the reason is going to be due to Black Widow, or is it going to be due to something else?
I think it'll be a lot of things.
Yeah, I think
just a combination of the two.
Probably. Maybe the events of Civil War drag him back in. Maybe.
I really like your idea with Guardians, like, because I'm really curious to see how they integrate their their universe kind of thing with like Earth. Like that's really.
Yeah, because we know the main idea of how that's going to be integrated, but how like subplot wise it's going to be integrated.
That's going
to be interesting.
They're just going to show up. Here they are.
Kevin,
we're here. We're going to Galaxy.
Kevin Feige, the president and like overall producer of all the Marvel films. He the other day, I don't know when it was. He said something about how Guardians of the Galaxy will never coexist with the Avengers. They're meant to exist separately. That's bullshit. I don't know why. They're going to. They're going to.
Thanos is already.
You wouldn't add them to the Marvel Cinematic Universe if they're not going to be part of Infinity War.
Yeah, they're going to be there.
If they're part of Infinity War, they're not going to be like, oh, the Guardians shoot him a little bit, now Thanos is down on Earth, and then we fight him a little bit, and then he goes back up to space, and the
Star
Guardians fight him.
So he's going to have an investment in protecting Earth.
Exactly.
And then Thanos was in Guardians. He was not just a side clip. He was in.
It's the biggest thing he's been so far.
That's his biggest investment so far.
And He has more than 5 seconds of screen time.
And they actually
he has more than after the clip.
And that's the movie they actually officially introduced the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, as the concept that they are.
And that's what he wants. They said he wants these. He's already in the movies.
Yeah.
Already. You can't just
you can't write it off. Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Each of us sum up our thoughts and rank
Grade.
it or grade it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Eric, do you want to go first?
I loved it a lot. It's now my number 1 favorite Marvel movie over Guardians, I think.
Dang.
Yeah, it was really.
You love Guardians.
I really loved Guardians, but this was really good. I really liked it.
Fight Club back.
So.
Edward Norton.
Yeah. Well, overall, really, they had lots of good balance, comedy with the seriousness. Ultron was a fantastic villain, and I really liked Hawkeye. He really stood out, and yeah, I think I would give this A+.
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 So?
Yeah, so I enjoyed this movie a lot. There was a part of it that it really went really fast and everything kind of flew by, but it had to as well. It's not my favorite Marvel movie, but I think I would probably give it a B+, A- range. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, but it could have been better. But it was also a lot of pressure to
Joss is gonna kill himself.
pull it off. Yeah, Joss isn't gonna make it through the end of Marvel.
The next month he'll
universe.
be dead. I know it.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna definitively say B+.
B+. AJ?
Like how it's getting darker. Stop being so flustery. Mark Ruffalo, get it together. Probably top 3 out of all the Marvel movies I've seen. I like probably B-.
B-?
Yeah.
What's your favorite one? Out of curiosity.
It's hard. This one's tied with Iron Man and Captain America. Those are.
Which Captain America, the first one or Winter Soldier?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. These two are kind of tied too. I like Iron Man more than I like Captain America.
Iron Man 1?
Yes.
Okay.
Iron Man 2's okay. And screw Iron Man 3, but Iron Man 1 is awesome.
Alright. I really like this movie. It's probably my top 3 favorite. I think Joss Whedon grew as a filmmaker. He grew as a visual storyteller. His action sequences were more dynamic, and the camera movement was better. The acting is terrific from everybody, as it always, except Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I think I'm just not a fan of. I think I've realized. Quicksilver.
Kick-ass.
And I thought Ultron was a great villain. I thought the script was really funny most of the time, and I agree. I like that it's getting a little darker. They're setting up the tone of Phase 3 to probably be more interesting.
Yeah, not as jokey, funny.
Not as jokey, funny, and I think overall I would give it an A.
A? Okay.
A, yeah.
Yeah, I'm on the line of an A- B+. Right there.
I was on the line of A-, yeah, A-A.
Okay. We're right near each other.
But I think I'm being optimistic and saying an A, and I'm thinking I'd solidify it if I see it again.
I think my solidification is going to be how it lines up to Phase 3. I think because it's hard to look at these movies as I rate this movie an A. Yes, it's a very good movie by itself, but it's also part of a universe.
Yeah.
And so I think before I solidify a final grade ever for it, I need to watch everything that happened before it, watch it again, and watch everything that happened after it relatively closely.
Yeah. Coming back to my grade, like I said, I really just was hyped up for Avengers, so that might be why it's my number 1 right now. But I'm gonna be watching it again. But definitely, my grade doesn't affect that you should go see this in theaters.
You definitely should. I believe that you should go see it
for sure.
Yeah, this is the kind of movie you should see in theaters.
Doesn't matter what grade,
for sure.
I give it or we give it.
Can we talk about the 3D real quick? What do we all? I didn't notice it.
I didn't mind it.
When you take,
mind it.
I took them off for a little bit, and there's hardly a difference.
Yeah, there
it was
wasn't.
so stupid.
I hate 3D.
I noticed what they did with 3D. I took them off because 3D glasses give me a freaking headache.
They're terrible.
I can't stand this stupid thing. They 3D'd the background.
Oh, did they?
That was it.
Yeah, there was no...
I watched 15 minutes of it with my 3D glasses propped up. They 3D'd the background, and that was it.
The Jurassic World trailer was more 3D than
See,
this
I don't
movie.
like that.
Eliminate 3D.
That's too much.
Well, I hate it all.
Eliminate it.
Eliminate it.
Yeah.
Eliminate it.
Yeah, but
Not necessary.
I like it every now.
But yeah, they 3D'd the
Avatar.
background, and that was
For
it. And I was like,
Avatar.
there's no point in 3D'ing a movie if all you're going to do is make some trees pop out at my face.
Yeah.
I don't give a
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't make anything
appreciate
cool for me.
the different visual experience. I don't know.
It gives
See,
me
I
a
wonder if
headache,
that's
and I feel like
because you don't go to the movies as much as like
Depends on the movie.
I
If
feel
it's
like-
not Avatar.
it's supposed to
possibly.
add something, and I feel like it takes away from me. I feel like it makes it more unrealistic. I don't know why, because
Like,
see
there's
something
a
that
nuisance.
looks, it makes it look more CGI'd.
Yeah.
It makes it look more unrealistic. Like, if I see something flying on the screen, it actually looks pretty good. But if I see something flying on the screen through 3D glasses, I feel like it makes it look more visualized,
It distorts it a little.
CGI, distorted, pixelated, that I don't believe it as much as I did if it was just on screen.
I agree.
Sometimes it overdoes it, but I liked it in this one. It like sometimes it puts me like in the movie mentality, and I'm like, oh, this is a movie, and like my brain is like, go endorphins.
Yeah, you get more immersed in the experience.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do get more immersed. Like I felt myself
I wish
that
I
way
did.
with that movie. Like I wouldn't
Too
have
many
enjoyed it
movies.
as much if it wasn't
many
in the
3D
IMAX
movies.
3D. I think with this movie. I mean, like the Jurassic World trailer, I thought that was too much. I didn't like how
Yeah, I
fucking
hate
shit
it.
was coming out. Made too much. Like that's like.
Because they told us it wasn't 3D when we bought the
But
tickets.
this one
No,
was
yeah,
subtle.
yeah,
And-
Well, no, online it said it wasn't 3D.
and I thought that it was
And
the opposite.
I knew
thought
it
they
was
made,
going
like,
to
the
be because it was in the
characters
IMAX
3D
theater,
and
but I
not
was
the
Characters in
background.
that background.
Yeah,
I honestly don't remember.
I thought the characters were in 3D because I remember Scarlett Johansson's like the line of her cheeks and the
All I
depth
know
of
is
it.
that-
At least the like
3D.
15 to 20 minutes I watched without the glasses because I got one hell of a headache. None of the main like characters when they were on the front of the screen were ever 3D'd because you can tell when something's 3D because it's got that distortion effect of them setting off the second layer,
The two images are not
Yeah.
overlapping.
and that was all just background.
I took it off a few times and I saw the distortion in the characters.
Oh, I
And maybe it was just the section of movie that I watched. I'll give it that.
Maybe,
Like,
maybe.
Yeah, all I know is I hate it.
yeah, all I know is that I don't like 3D glasses. I don't like 3D
Movie's
movies.
good.
I think they
Don't
shouldn't.
see it in 3D.
If you can see it in IMAX, though, for sure see it in IMAX. It's
Usually
It's
IMAX
worth
aligns with the 3D though, especially for
Now.
like
and
midnight
then in that
showings.
sense, it's okay to do that.
or the
Like, I don't
what's
mind
it called?
if it's
Like
IMAX.
Prime or something like the new.
XD.
Uh,
Well, XD is for Cinemark theaters.
there's something else that AMC has. I can't. It's
I don't know what AMC's is, but it's the same
Yeah,
thing. It's like
same
XD.
thing.
It's enhanced visuals, enhanced audio.
Yeah,
and,
it's
like given
IMAX
it sounds
without
a little
IMAX.
better and stuff, but yeah, it's cool to go see in
Yeah.
that because you
see in
have
the
such a
biggest
big
theater
field
possible
of view.
with the most people possible. Like see it early because the bigger the audience, the more
Environment's
the fun and the jokes. It's better.
Yeah, it's that effect where you're watching it by yourself, you don't laugh. You're watching it with friends,
Yeah.
you think it's hilarious.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think that's probably it for
Sums it
this.
up.
I'm sure very long podcast.
Goodbye.
About an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. all
Pleasure
right.
to meet you, peoples.
Yes, hopefully AJ is gonna be. You'll get to see his handsome mug when we do a video review.
I only have half of a face.
You just offended some people, AJ.
Yeah, Jesus.
Good.
Yeah. It's like I offended the good Christians by
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
talking about the.
We need to watch
I don't
our
know.
language.
We need to watch our
Captain
language.
America will be
Captain
upset.
And with
Language.
That being said, schlub it up.
Yep, so